on today's episode. You got it on?
Yeah.
I pop this tile. So what's going to happen here is when water gets in here, it's just going to puddle. All right, hey, thanks for checking out another one of my videos. Today I'm here with Ray. Ray, you found me on YouTube because you guys were investigating the shower that you had done, and you had a lot of questions. You had a feeling it wasn't done right, correct? Am I correct? Tell us a little bit about your concerns with it initially and why you contacted us.
Well, there have always been a few defects. The corners, the detail work was a little below par. Mm-hmm. But then this was done last June, and a couple months ago I was taking a shower and I looked down, and right about here I saw some loose grout. Uh-huh. And I said, well, this isn't right. And then we fooled with it some more, and one of the tiles popped up, and it was all wet and soggy. We pulled all the bottom layer up, and it was just soaking wet under there. Oh, and that was when we checked out your videos and go, no, this isn't quite right. And, you could have been in Uzbekistan on YouTube, but we found out, hey, he's right out in Rockland.
He's right in town.
All of you, and here we are today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you did the right thing, Ray. I mean, a lot of times people they'll just keep using it, and they'll keep using it and using it. But we just did another job a couple weeks ago where the homeowner, this shower sat for 2 years. He bought the house and the shower was already done, and he knew something wasn't right. He goes, I could just tell things weren't built quite right. So he never used it. 2 years, and he never used his shower.
Oh yeah, she saw that video.
Yeah,
told me about.
Yeah. The liner was punctured, the waterproofing was just shot, and it would have just grown into, and especially when you have exterior walls, you're redoing your window, your exterior framing, your siding, and it goes into other rooms, and you got mold problems. Okay. I appreciate you giving us a call.
All right, good deal.
And we'll be checking in with you as we go.
Okay.
All right, thanks a lot, Ray.
Good deal.
So when I got here, they had already taken out the pan, and like Ray was saying, he noticed that the grout was loose. He noticed that it was squishy and things just weren't right. So they went ahead and took out the tile off of the shower pan. And coming in here, one of the first things I noticed was they used mastic on the shower pan, which again is a big no-no. If you ever see mastic being used on a shower pan in wet areas, you know that it's going to be a botched job. That's not what it's meant for. It's meant for interior dry areas, like maybe a kitchen backsplash that's not getting wet. So if you see mastic, if you see an installer using mastic on a shower pan, kick him off your job. He doesn't know what he's doing. Another thing that I noticed that was done wrong on here is we have a lot of lippage in this tile. Look at that gap in that tile. That's a telltale sign. Another sign is your walls aren't plumb. Look at the level on this. Look how far out this is. So I'm going to show you plumb.
I think it's more.
More? Yeah. Anyways, it's a lot. Niche details are very difficult to pull off. It's actually one of the most trick things we do when we're installing showers. It takes a lot of detail. Each one of these niches would probably take the same amount of time to do one whole flat wall. Yeah, so what's going to happen here is when water gets in here, it's just going to puddle. It's going to pool. If any, this should be sloped coming out here, so as water comes in here, it can come out. We have a cracked tile right there too. But this niche detail was just not a good job. That's another sign I can tell. And yeah, they have lippage. There's also grout haze. It's kind of hard to see with the camera angle, but he's got grout haze all over the shower, all over the tile. And again, these aren't things, grout haze isn't going to ruin your shower, but again, it's just a sign. When you see grout haze, that means either he didn't know how to grout, or he was just careless and didn't take the time to clean wash everything and make everything really nice. So if you see and a little bit of grout haze is normal, because you can just come back and buff it off. But if it's just all over your tile, you can pretty much count it's going to be a bad tile job. So let's get into this. Let's see what's underneath the tile. I'm going to pop a couple tiles here, and we'll see what kind of methods. Hardy Backer Red Guard. I'm calling Hardy Backer over the hot mop, lapped over, screws through the hot mop, mastic between the tile and the Hardy Backer. Okay, let's see who wins. All right, you got it on?
Yeah.
Okay, so right off the bat, also, okay, so come in here. I want you to see how there is no thin set coverage. There's actually a void between the wall and the tile. See, there's a gap. The tile's actually not even into the wall. There's a big gap there. So we got Hardy Backer. There's the mastic. Very poor coverage. Again, the tile isn't even set into those trowel marks. So it actually looks like he didn't screw through, so I could be wrong on that one. What he did is he took his Hardy Backer and put it down all the way to the pan, then floated up to it. So basically the Hardy Backer is submerged into the shower pan, which is a no-no. You can do it with cement board, so if it's Durock, Wonder Board, other 100% cement boards, but Hardy Backer has fibers in it, and so it acts like a sponge. So when it gets wet, when this deck float gets wet, this Hardy Backer will draw it up the wall, because it basically has paper fibers in it. So that's what he did, is Devin, come in and get closer, you can see. He took his Hardy Backer, ran it down to the pan, and then concreted right up to it. Let me see if I can break this concrete. Yeah, so this is concrete mix. You can see this is what he used for his pan. It's actual concrete. It's not deck mud. It's not even fat mud. Concrete mix right on the hot mop. So yeah, so there's the edge of the And so we got a hot mop. I'm going to put that card up, so if you don't know what a hot mop for waterproofing is, I'll put that card up. Check that video out after you watch this video. They actually use a cellulose fiber, and it has give to it. So you can see that's their pre-slope material, which has give, so it's kind of soft. So if you don't have a good mortar bed under here, and that's what the hot moppers here are relying on, you end up with a lot of give. What I want to point out is the lack of coverage on these tiles. Again, if I pop this tile, so in this tile we have maybe, I would call that maybe 10% coverage. So coverage is the amount of mortar that's actually adhered, and again, this is mastic, so, and then that little spot is the only thing that's stuck because he dot set that little part. So 10% coverage, definitely not good. In a wet area, you're supposed to have 95% coverage, I believe. So let's see if we can get under this board. Hardy Backer. So he didn't screw to it, so I was wrong on that part. He didn't screw it through the waterproofing, which was good. There you can see the mastic and very little coverage. There's the hot mop. And so what happened is why the wall was so out of plumb is these hot mops get about a 1/4 inch thick, maybe even thicker in some spots. So he laid his Hardy Backer over it, and so the tile is just going to follow that wall, and everything's going to be bumpy and not flat. So that's why we like, whenever we use a hot mop, we always float our walls. That way we can plumb and straighten everything up. But yeah, that's definitely not a good way to do it. So one of the last things I want to check before we get going is what went on around the drain. So I can't even find the weep holes, and I don't even think it would have mattered because using concrete, the concrete doesn't weep, so it wouldn't have mattered even if you had weep holes, because concrete doesn't weep, and just the wrong material used on the pan. So this whole thing would have just been like a big soaking wet block of concrete that over time, once it hit the hardy backer, would have sucked up the walls. The mastic that held the tiles, the little bit of mastic that was holding the tiles, once it gets wet, it has organic compounds in it too, so those just deteriorate over time. So these tiles would have just started popping off, and yeah, this would have been a failure. I would say if this was used a lot, probably within 3 to 5 years, you would have had tiles that were falling off the wall that you could just pull off. And, you know, mold issues back here and stuff too, so it's a good thing.
8 or 9 months.
8 or 9 months, yeah.
And that concrete was just, all that mastic and everything was just mush.
Yeah.
When we pulled the floor up.
Yeah, I can still see the concrete's still damp. It's still dark, so.
Yeah, it was wet when we took the
Yeah.
floor tile up.
Yeah, yeah. Good call on not using it, for sure. Oh, okay. Oh yeah. So mastic straight to a hot mop. Mastic straight to a hot mop.
No screws?
No screw. Oh. Now that you mentioned it, okay. Devin, you're gonna have to get a close up. We have not screws but nails. He nailed the edge profile. That's a nail right there, right through the hot mop. He had just tar, mastic stuck to tar on the curb. And let's see if we can get another one up. So that's basically what was under there. Rusty, which means water was already getting down in here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 nails that he had on the top of the curb. They're those drywall ring shank nails. And yeah, you can see rust on them. They're already getting wet, but yeah, the holes went straight through the waterproofing. And I imagine this is a wood curb. So there's more mastic. So yeah. There's our 2x4s. Leave your comments in the section below. Be sure to check out the next video coming up. You're really going to like it. I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it. And again, guys, keep up the good work. We'll see you on the next one.